for Commerce and Consumer Affairs, Small Businesses and Manufacturing ਤੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਟੈਟਿਸਟਿਕਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਦੇ ਪੋਰਟਫੋਲੀਓ ਦੇ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਐਂਡਰੂ ਬੇਲੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਲਓ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਦ ਸ਼ੋ ਐਂਡਰੂ ਸੋ obviously you are not in Port Waikato, you are somewhere else.
Well, I've just been to the Auckland airport to see the massive proposed infrastructure spend there.
Excellent. So I can understand you're totally busy this morning. And what is happening in first 100 days of this coalition government?
Well, as you know, we're ripping through it, if I could say it that way. We've got a very clear plan to do that. And so we're progressing pretty well. Unfortunately, we've lost a couple of days with the unfortunate death of one of the MPs, which has been tragic. But we're aiming to have everything on time. It might mean a couple of days that we have to go into urgency to try and complete it. But we're ruthlessly focused on putting in place the 100-day plan.
Wonderful. In the meantime, tell us about Simon Bridges. What have you been doing with him?
Well, I've set up a small business advisory group, and I've got about 40 people involved in it. What I've said to... And I've also done the same thing for a manufacturing group as well. What I want them to be is a group I can go to about small business issues and to be able to say, look, what should I be doing as a minister? So the first thing we've done is we've met with the group and we've got another meeting coming up in early March. And I've said, just tell me 3 to 5 things I can do. And Simon is part of that group. And I just went to see him and just to catch up, because obviously they have a lot to do with small businesses.
Wonderful. Andrew, I was listening to one of your speech during the last few days. You've been saying that New Zealanders are not as financially literate as we want them to be. What that means?
Well, that's a crushing problem for New Zealand, that most people don't understand, and a lot of it's school children who are not getting enough education at an early age. And, even things like understanding what a mortgage means, what a table mortgage, and the impact of paying interest over a long period of time as opposed to ruthlessly paying it down. Those type of things, we just need to make sure that New Zealanders are more financially literate. And the other side of it is that we simply don't save enough. And people don't understand the concept of, if you start putting in money early, and you get what's called compounding interest, that's what grows investments over time, and that's how you invest for your future. And we simply don't do enough of it in New Zealand, and too many New Zealanders are not saving enough.
And how are you going to deliver the tax relief?
Well, those pieces of legislation are going through. We will have the tax relief in and it is focused mainly on middle income New Zealanders, the hard-working people who are really struggling now because of high mortgage rates, high cost of living, food prices. So they will be in place by 1st of April.
Okay, very good. And tell us some good news about free trade agreement to India and also direct flight to India at some point.
Well, you might have seen the announcement with Minister Todd McClay yesterday. He is saying that India is basically his number one biggest priority. We really do want to do a free trade agreement with India. Of course, we're hoping the Indian government's in a receptive mood to that. But in terms of New Zealand's priority, we want to do a free trade agreement. And of course, we should have been doing more about it. As you and I have discussed before on this radio station, we have been far too slow to engage with the massive Indian economy. And of course, we've got so many good Indian families and communities here in New Zealand. It's just an absolute no-brainer. Now, the flights, interesting, I've just been at the airport, but wow, that would be fantastic. We could start doing that, wouldn't it?
Yes, that's right. And luckily, the Air India CEO is also a Kiwi.
I didn't know that.
So it's easy job for you, actually, whenever you have you're sitting on the table and having negotiations with Air India, if they can have some joint connection with Air New Zealand at some point.
Well, that's right. It'd be great to have another, and of course there's a huge tourism market as well. So there's a double whammy for us. And we always start talking about what the benefit is to New Zealand. But also
Yeah.
we've got to think more about what the benefit is to India, because that's a true partnership. It's not just one-way trade or one-way benefit. It's really important that both nations and both people really are engaged in trying to promote it as much as possible.
Excellent. You've been mentioning in your speeches about accessing affordable healthcare. What that means?
Well, the big stuff about affordable healthcare is, many people now are struggling to pay for doctors, access to doctors. We've got a
Yes.
lot of issue around not enough doctors in New Zealand, and you would have heard that we've announced that we're going to set up another school in Hamilton, Waikato University, to
Yep.
train doctors primarily for rural New Zealand, provincial New Zealand. So just thinking outside the big centres, we don't have enough doctors in Greytown, Westport, Wanganui, all those sort of places. That is the real focus of that initiative. The other thing we've put in place is, we train wonderful nurses and they do a fantastic job in our hospitals, but many of them are leaving overseas. So we announced prior to the election that we would pay off student loans for nurses up to 22,500. So that's the maximum, because that's what it costs to train as a nurse over 4 years. And we would say, what our proposal is, if you stay on and work in New Zealand over a 4-year period, that total sum would be reimbursed to you.
Yeah, and we are such a small nation, but from last 9 or 10 years, we've been starving for manufacturing units. So, any hopes in the near future to get some manufacturing units in the country?
Well, this is what I've been working out. I talked about that small business group. I've also set up a manufacturing group of, again, real people, real manufacturers.
Yep.
And for the last couple of years, I've been going around all the manufacturers. I did 13 regional visits just prior to the election. So I have a pretty good handle. But what we've done in the last one, and again, I think we've got another meeting on 15th of March in my diary, is that in the first meeting that we've done, is I said to them, let's not talk about new plans and strategic plans, but all this stuff we talk about. Just tell me the 3 to 5 things I can do as a manufacturing minister, and I will go and do those, and then I'll come back and ask you what the next 3 to 5 things are. So we have identified 10 high impact but easy to implement initiatives. And the next meeting will be to say to me, what are the 3 to 5 I should do? And also, I'm saying to the manufacturing sector, I need you to be clear about, for instance, what are the specific skill shortages needs we need in manufacturing? Don't tell me that we're short of manufacturing staff. Tell me how many CNC cutters and what type of CNC. Is it plastic, laminate type of stuff? So I can go to Minister Stanfield, who's the immigration minister, and say, look, this is where we've got specific shortages. We need 50 of these type of people. Fill that gap and then move on. So, again, I'm trying to work with the industry or sector to be clear about some deliverables. I don't want to be talking about talk fest and having strategic plans, how we're going to grow it. What can we do tomorrow? And I'll go and do it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Andrew, this is from Port Waikato. What is happening in
lovely?
your electorate?
Yeah. Well, right there is right at Port Waikato, and we got huge erosion right on that beach. It's now munching into the road, and we've got a surf club there.
Yes.
That's only recently been developed, and let's hope we don't lose that. But right there's a new model. I saw it last week, where they've been laying not building concrete structures, but actually laying logs, tree logs, and then they built a structure to actually stop the erosion. And it actually looks like it might work. I'm really excited about it. But what a great spot if you're a surfer, or are you a surfer?
I'm not, but I'm kayaking. I'm not into kayaking and paddleboarding.
Oh, are you? Oh, well, get down there. Hey, I'll meet you down there one day.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And you keep up good work. I know there's a lot of work to do. It's just the beginning at the moment. Anything else you want to say to your Indian fellows?
Hey, look, as I've said many times on your radio station, and thank you for what you do in advocating for the Indian community. But the Indian community is probably the most significant in terms of numbers of people in New Zealand. Your contribution to the economic development of New Zealand is massive. I know that. keep doing what it is. We are worried about crime, and one of the big issues. You've got some wonderful advocates who are helping us, particularly in the dairy industry and things like that. So we are conscious about crime. We do want to try and help you get ahead. We want to see people going and buying houses, raising families, getting their kids having a good education, getting access to good health care. Those are all the simple stuff. And that's what we're focused on as a government, delivering the simple stuff. At the same time, we've got to grow this economy like Billy-O, because when we do that, the nation gets wealthier. That's when we can invest in new roads, new schools, new hospitals.
Wonderful. Let's hope we will stop the brain drain to across the ditch.
Yeah, no. Do not leave the country.
That's the main thing. Thank you very much and keep up the spirit. Well done. Thank
All
you.
right. Fantastic. Hey, good to talk to you.
Thank you. Thank you kindly. ਦੋਸਤੋ ਇਹ ਸਨ ਐਂਡਰੂ ਬੇਲੀ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ MP ਨੇ ਪੋਰਟ ਵਾਈਕਾਟੋ ਤੋਂ ਤੇ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਨੇ ਕਾਮਰਸ ਤੇ ਕੰਜ਼ਿਊਮਰ ਅਫੇਅਰਸ ਦੇ, ਸਮਾਲ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਤੇ ਮੈਨੂਫੈਕਚਰਿੰਗ ਦੇ ਮਾਮਲਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਪੋਰਟਫੋਲੀਓ ਦੇ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਨੇ। ਇਸ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਨਿਊਜ਼ੀਲੈਂਡ ਦੀ ਸਟੈਟਿਸਟਿਕਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਆંકੜੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਉਹ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਨੇ, ਤੇ ਏਅਰਪੋਰਟ ਤੋਂ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਸਨ, ਜਿਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਟ੍ਰੈਫਿਕ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਟਕ ਹੋਣ ਕਰਕੇ ਹਾਲੇ ਤੱਕ ਉਹ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ। ਲੇਕਿਨ ਹੀ ਵਾਸ ਕਾਈਂਡ ਇਨਫ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਹੈ ਇਸ ਨੂੰ ਜਿੱਥੋਂ ਟਰੈਵਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਸਨ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਹੀ ਪ੍ਰਵਾਨ ਕੀਤਾ। ਆਉਂਦੇ ਸਮਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਵੱਖ-ਵੱਖ ਪੋਰਟਫੋਲੀਓਜ਼ ਦੇ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਤੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਓਪੋਜੀਸ਼ਨ ਪਾਰਟੀ, ਲੇਬਰ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਨਵਾਈਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਰਹਾਂਗੇ।